What's up, guys and gals? My name is Splattercat, and I'm here today taking a look at Space Hulk, the PC adaptation of the classic board game that's been around for quite some time from Games Workshop. I've been really excited about this game, and it's one that I've been contemplating picking up as the release date came closer and closer, and so I went ahead and I made the leap today. Now, I don't have the predisposition to this game that I would like to have. I've played it a few times at my local gaming shop. I've actually played the board game version once or twice, and how it works is you take a squad of Warhammer 40k Space Marines, and they're in very cramped corridors, and it's kind of custom-built dungeons. There's a dungeon master who's playing the Genestealers who are trying to kill all your Marines, and your Marines have a mission that they have to accomplish during the course of this boarding action. And it makes the game very tense, it makes the game very cramped, and unlike a lot of strategy games out there, because everything is sort of a boarding or sort of an entrance action, everything is an invasion, you have to be very careful about the way you use your limited resources, and I guess that's always been the name of the game for Warhammer 40k, is really risk versus reward, and making sure that you appropriately position yourself and things of that nature, but in Space Hulk, it takes a completely different turn. What we're going to do in each episode, we're probably going to do one mission. That's really where I'd like to keep it because the game is very tiring. That's one thing I will say is I've played a little bit. I've completed the whole tutorial just to kind of rehash my knowledge on how the game works because it's probably been years since I've played Space Hulk in the board game. And this adaptation is very, very true to the board game. It's almost identical. In fact, I can't wait to get online and actually play against real players because one of the things is I moved out to college and there's nobody out here who plays board games or anything of that nature. But before I go ranting about random stuff, let's go straight into the campaign and we're going to select a mission. So I've already done the boarding prequel, so I've got a pretty familiar knowledge of how most of the stuff in the game works at this point. I vaguely remember playing. We're going to start with the actual campaign. So here we go. We are boarding the Sin of Damnation, which is a large floating Space Hulk out in the middle of nowhere. And the first mission is called Suicide Mission. We have to destroy the central release mechanism for the ship's lifeboats in the control chamber. Heavy casualties are to be expected. That's always a pleasurable thing. Let's take a look at the briefing here.
There is a large bank of functioning escape pods in a sector well beyond our established perimeter. The enemy must not escape. Cleanse the control room. No matter the cost, this will be done. Sergeant of the squad, accept your orders. You command one squad. You will deploy your Terminators here. Scanners have detected Xeno's life signs in these areas. Deep scans indicate the target is in this area. Bathe the control room in flame and protect the battle brother who bears the heavy flamer. If he falls, all is lost.
Alright, so if you don't know how the map works, these are breach points where the Genestealers are going to be coming after us from. These are the spots that we're going to deploy in, so as you can see, we're pretty much moving rank and file starting out. Everything is a corridor, so as you would expect, this game is very much about choke points and appropriately facing your units, more importantly. Let's move forward into the mission and we'll see how this whole thing goes. I can't promise any amazing, thrilling strategy here because I am not an amazing strategist. Those who have been around on my channel for quite some time will tell the newcomers that, well, I'm a little bit sad sometimes. So what we want to do is we take a look at each of our units here and I'm going to talk about what each of them can do. Right here, Sergeant Lorenzo. So he's the leader of our entire little squad. He's quite good in melee. That's really his strength, as if he gets into close quarters, he stands a much better chance than most soldiers of actually surviving. In Space Hulk, close quarters combat is a terrible, terrible idea because you're up against critters that are pretty much better at it than you. I've seen very few instances in which letting the enemy get near you is an optimal decision. Additionally, he allows us to re-roll our command points each turn, and I'll talk about those once we get in. He also has a basic ranged attack. He functions about as well as a normal Marine with a standard bolter with his offhand pistol. Brother Zale. Brother Zale is our heavy flamer, so he's sort of our demolitions guy, our suppression specialist. He's our support guy, essentially. He doesn't heal or do anything like that, but what he can do is he can block off entire corridors with a flamethrower. Any Genestealers that get hit by the flames are pretty much toast. They have I believe they have a pretty much, probably like an 87% chance of just getting nuked instantly. It's a pretty brutal amount of percentages that go into it. Actually, I think it's 84. But anyways, Brother Noctis. These guys right here, all three of these dudes are your general red shirts. They are completely expendable. So if you have to lose somebody, you always want to lose your basic Marines. But what makes them nice is that they can Overwatch, which is a really good ability in this game because there's so much corridor fighting. Keeping yourself focused on the prize and pointing your weapon in the right direction can often lead to a surprise victory. Let's get our deployment going here. I'm going to start with my basic Marines. So I believe that I'm going to have Squad Lorenzo here, or I'm sorry, I'm going to have Brother Goriel. He's going to be in the front. We're going to have the Heavy Flamer right behind him because we have a lot of breach points right here. There's a number of breach points, and we're going to have to pretty much lock off this corridor. Now, the Heavy Flamer does have limited ammunition, which can be kind of a problem. I'm going to put the Sergeant in the middle, and then we'll just throw the two random red shirts in the back. And let's get our Terminator squad a-rolling. Deploy, and let's do this thing. So there they are. We teleport in. It's a little debatable why we couldn't just, like, teleport into this room over here, but I suppose it probably has to do with these little floor plates. I haven't played the game enough to really know the lore. Now, you'll see that we've got a door in front of our first Terminator right here. That's a problem, and there's a couple ways that we can deal with doors. Now, in the board game, it's always recommended that you destroy doors. The reason being is that the Game Master can actually close doors on you and block off your line of sight by using certain abilities, and that's a big, big problem if you're trying to hold down a corridor. However, because this one's behind us, I'm actually just going to let's move and fire. So this key right here, we have a number of abilities. Let's talk about those. So we have Storm Bolter, which is our ranged attack. Power Fist, which is going to be our point blank attack. Probably not going to be using that one too much. We have Overwatch, which costs us 2 AP. You can see our AP right here. Everybody's got 4. You can see our Guard protocol right here. Guard allows us to re-roll the close assault dice. I haven't used Guard a whole lot. Most things tend to be dead before they get near me, and that's just how I prefer it. The other ability that we're about to use is called Move and Fire. Now, when I click that, I can choose a door. So there it is. Oh, never mind. That door's not going to be shootable. This door right here will be shootable. Let's go ahead and, if you see there's that little green mark right there, I actually want to shoot this one first, and I'll tell you why. The Genestealers have to come through it. So as I walk forward here, he should take shots at it if he's facing properly.
Objective logged.
Okay, so we'll do it in the next turn. We'll blast that door in our next turn. You actually got to turn him to face him. So how it works is it costs you 1 AP to move a square, and to choose your facing also costs an AP. So you see how it's 3 right here? If I choose to walk through here and turn the Terminator, that's going to cost me an extra AP. And so I'm going to put my Flamer guy right here because he's going to, basically we're going to blow this door. He's going to step this way. The Flamer's going to step center. And he's going to block off this corridor with flame, and we're going to move in this direction as quickly as possible. The important thing about this game is you always want to be moving forward. If you're not moving forward, then you're moving backwards in Space Hulk. It's very, very easy. If you've ever played Descent, which is another board game, which is kind of similar to Space Hulk, it's a little bit more it's a bit more spacious, but it's similar in the sense that if you're not making advances, it's very, very easy for the Game Master or the player who's controlling the Genestealers to really lock you down in a location. And what happens then is you basically just hold your position until the end of time and nothing good ever happens. Now, what are command points? Command points are down here in the bottom left corner. And at the beginning of every turn, we generate between 1 and 6 command points, I think is the rule. I haven't played the game enough to recall, but I believe it's between 1 and 6. We can re-roll them. So let's say at the beginning of our turn, we get ourselves 1 CP. That's really, really bad. Our Sergeant over here, Sergeant, he would allow us to re-roll our CP roll so that we could get more of them. CP act as extra AP that anybody in your squad could use. So, for example, if I wanted to step forward right now, you see how that second number is an orange or yellow, whatever color that appears to you? That would cost me a CP. So CP are just general purpose AP that you can use when times are tough, essentially. Now, what I would like to do, actually, is let's consider, we've got a lot of AP, or I'm sorry, we got a lot of CP, so I'm going to spend, there we go. Now that we turn him, you'll see that he's firing on the door now. At the bottom right, though, he has to destroy the door with a dice roll of 6. We are using 6-sided dice here, and he rolled a 4 and a 3. Unfortunately, that is not going to cut it. What I would like to do is we're actually going to spend some CP to see if we can actually get this door down. I don't want it to be here. Now, I could just step forward and destroy it. Oh, no, that's not what I wanted, but it'll work. That'll do the trick, I suppose. Now, a lot of the times, one of the things that's a little strange about this game is I don't always feel like the dice rolls are being explained enough. I do really wish that there was like an advanced dice roll option. So for example, sometimes you get 2 rolls, sometimes you get 3, and it's not really completely transparent about why that is. But I think that's going to be the end of our first turn. There's no Genestealers on the map just yet, so that little mismove. We needed that door down. No matter what, we needed this door out of the way. So in either case, even though I moved him down here on accident, really we only cost ourselves CP, which in the long run could kind of cripple us. That turn we got 4 CP. Now I usually only recommend re-rolling CP if I get under 3. If I get 1 or 2, I'll typically re-roll just because the chances are really on your side that you'll get something better. Because we got 4, I'm just going to leave it where it is. And we're going to move this Space Marine right here to that door. I'm going to have my Heavy Flamer here. He's going to do his best to block off this corridor, if indeed he can. I'm going to put my Sergeant right there so that he can overwatch and allow the extraction of the Flamer guy, because one of the problems that usually comes up, one of the things that I've noticed, is that your Flamer has this strange tendency to get cut off because you sort of lose sight of keeping him alive, because he's always blocking off corridors. I tend to not think very clearly about how I use my Flamer, and because we need him to survive this mission, that leaves me in the precarious situation of playing against my own inner instincts. Let's step to right there. And I believe what we're going to... Brother Dino, he's going to sing Kick in the Head for us after he gets done spraying some enemies here. We've got Brother Zale. I think I'm going to put down Suppression. Ooh, I don't know if I should do it yet. Now, Genestealers at this point in the game, I believe, can move 6 squares. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. They can get right up to me right now. So what I would prefer to do is let's just fill this corridor with flame to begin with so that we don't have to deal with it later. That's what I would very much prefer to have occur. That leaves him free. Let's use some AP and get these doors open, actually. Or, I'm sorry, some CP. We're going to use some command points. Let's pop this door open. There it is. And now that that door is open, I'm going to save the rest of the CP. It does stack in between turns from what I recall. Those flames, Genestealers have to roll a damage dice every time they go through them, and the damage dice is insanely in our favor. It's the Genestealers have to roll better than I believe. If the Genestealers roll anything other than a 1, they die. I'm pretty sure that's how it works. So let's end this turn. We've got our corridor blocked off, and now we want to start making strides in this direction. We want to be very careful about the way that we use our flame troop, though, because he has limited ammunition. And you can see the way that they're piling up. This is very much how the game goes. You can think of it a lot like fighting against the Zerg at all times. We have a big problem in this direction, in that they're sort of piling up on us here. Oh, the CP don't stack, I don't think, because we just got 3. Alright, well, it might be a consideration to maybe re-roll those a little more simply. Now, if your Space Marines have anybody in contact, they will open fire on them automatically as you walk. It doesn't cost you any AP. Each square that they move, they'll take a shot, but they have to roll a 6 in order to get a kill on their D6. So down here you can see he got 2 rolls. Brother Goriel rolled a 2 and a 4 and a 3 and a 1, and he needed a 6 in any case to kill this guy. We are going to put in Overwatch, so he's going to try and get this hallway cleared. I can't guarantee that Goriel is going to be successful, but what we will do is get our flamethrower troop. I would like him to be sort of in the middle of the squad. I may rearrange him a little bit once we get to this junction right here. I don't know if I'm gonna... Well, I'll probably take the quickest route to the back. I'll probably go like so and cut up through here and have a guy facing backwards and just kind of stepping backwards the whole way. I don't know if that's the best way to do this, but it's the way that I liked it. Oh, I'm kind of thinking about leaving the flamer in the back, though, so he can cover our retreat. I don't know. Let's spend some CP since we're not going to be using it this turn anyways. If it doesn't stack, we might as well spend it. So the Flamer, we'll keep him back with the Sergeant. We're either going to put him in the back of our line or second to the back of our line. I think is going to be my decision there. I would very much prefer to have a Space Marine. Oh, he can't reface. Okay. That's fine. We'll just have him step to there. He's going to get some freebie shots, and it did come to terms. I love the way that there's a camera up here that shows what your Space Marines are seeing. That's very cool. He managed to kill the one in front, which I didn't expect. We're going to have the Sergeant move to there. He's going to take... Oh, he got one as well. Good. Lots of 6s being rolled. That's always a good thing, and that's always been one of the big contentions I have about Warhammer 40k, is its reliance on the fact that you really have to be lucky in some cases. It's about limiting your risk, and some people can't seem to get their heads around that. They very much don't like the fact that they can lose based on luck, and that's part of it. Now, each time this guy right here moves, this Genestealer, every time he moves a square, he's got to defend against an attack. Plus, Goriel, he'll hit on a 5 or a 6 while overwatching. So as you can tell, overwatching is always in your best interest in this game. And so there's a little theatrical annihilation of our Genestealer foes. He should be able to kill a lot of them. He has infinite ammunition, so he should just wipe out this entire hallway. So at this point, you're seeing exactly what Overwatch is all about in Space Hulk. This game is a remarkable primer for players trying to get into the board game because it teaches you those fundamental concepts like blocking off corridors and making sure that you always have somebody overwatching. And what I like about Space Hulk is there's very few strategy games that focus on this sort of combat. Most strategy games... Oh god, they're all just gonna allow themselves... Oh, his weapon jammed. So that's another option. Bad things can happen when you're overwatching, like your weapon jamming. And if your weapon jams, then you find yourself in the unenviable position of having to unjam it. Now, you can normally do that with a command point, but I think we spent all of our command points in the last turn. I'm going to step forward by 2. Let me actually do the math on this here. So 2, he goes to there. He's going to hang back. Ooh, I don't like their positioning right now. I might actually have the sergeant step back. There we go. Stepping backwards costs you 2 AP. I'm not really sure why. It just does. We need to unjam his bolter with an AP, which is exactly what we're going to go ahead and do. We will overwatch that hallway. I might spend a little more CP and put him in the middle of the force. Let's move these guys in the front, though. I'm always antsy about my movement in this game because your positioning will ultimately determine whether you live or die. You want to hold a long corridor with an Overwatch every single time. So if I got stuck like right here and the Genestealer comes around this corner, I only get 2 shots to kill him before he gets to me. If he has to go all the way down this corridor, I get like 5 shots before he gets to take me out. And they do kill you with 1 hit. I did want to make that. There's no HP or anything in this game. If the Genestealers get the dice roll that they want, you're dead. Period. That's all there is to it. Your troop is quite gibbed. I believe what I will do now... I'm actually going to fill this room up, and that's going to be 5. I'm going to put him on Overwatch as well, and we're going to have them Overwatch this entire room. I don't really... there's a lot of Genestealers coming. That is a pretty big crowd of the nasty little lobe-headed critters, and I prefer to puncture them as much as possible. Well, no such luck right there. I mean, he could have gotten a lucky roll right there and gotten a little bit done. Let's get our Flamer into line here. And hopefully they don't make a bum rush for right there. That would be very, very unfortunate. Because he's got a turn, he should have an AP left, I believe. Yeah, he's got an AP left, but it's not going to let me turn him around. I'm not really positive why. I think that's because it's 2 turns. He has to turn there, and then he has to turn back to here. So it actually counts as 2 turns instead of 1. Hopefully our strategic assessment here is valid. I think these 2 should be able to annihilate anything that moves down the hall. I wouldn't bet on it. Sometimes you get a bad roll, and it just kind of kills you, but I think we'll be alright. Yeah, it looks like they're taking care of business there. I'm a little disappointed they didn't use the bolter sound effects from Warhammer 40k Dawn of War, kind of that thwug, 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 thwug sound. I always liked that sound for the bolter. I always felt like that really symbolized the bolter for me. Oh god. So we have problems in this hallway. This hallway is definitely making me cry a manly Space Marine tear. We only got 2 CP, so I'm going to re-roll. Ooh, we got 6. That's going to benefit us tremendously. I'm going to have Brother Goriel just lay down some fire. Hopefully he can take somebody out here. I will spend almost all my AP just to make sure that he gets everybody. There we go. He got 1. We could advance and fire right now, but that option makes me a little nervous. There's another shot. He got 2 6s on that one. Very cool. That's usually kind of rare for any type of Warhammer 40k setting. I mean, for Shadowrun, not so rare. People from my channel tell you I play a lot of Shadowrun. I very much like Shadowrun, and you get a fistful of dice in Shadowrun. At this point, we have to decide. I'm going to Overwatch at this point because I think it's the better option. We're kind of wasting a lot of CP here. I'm going to have them sort of, well... Oh, no. Well, I canceled that, but unfortunately, it still went through. The controls are a little shaky right now. I did want to make that a little clear. The controls are a tad shaky. Like, what you can't see is that when I right-click, if I left-click, it cancels the order that they give, but sometimes it doesn't cancel quite the way you want it to. Sometimes it's a little weird the way that it cancels, and I just wanted to make that apparent. If there are misclicks in this one, it's Because the canceling system's a little strange, it doesn't always work the way you want it to. Brother Noctis is going to hold that point. I'm going to leave him with an AP just in case he needs to unjam his gun because we are completely and totally out of CP. I've made some mistakes on this one. It's hopefully my next couple missions will be a bit more clear. Oh no, the weapon has malfunctioned. So there goes our first Marine. And so we have a Marine down, unfortunately. And these guys have a ton of AP. We'll probably be okay in the in the overall strategy of the game. I think we'll probably be alright. That's why the red shirts are in the front, so that they can get killed. I think he'll be okay holding down this corridor. Yeah, he's gonna be fine. He's doing them. If we had XP in this game, he'd be just racking it in right now. He'd be like level 80. His gun did finally jam, though. Unfortunately, in the future, we have not gotten gun malfunctions under control, which makes the whole thing a little terrifying. I'm going to re-roll that, and we got 6 again. Very nice. Now, seeing as we're on our final Marine here, I'm going to see if I can bulldoze this guy just with ranged attacks up front. There we go. So we got him. That means we're going to be able to advance finally. I don't see any other Genestealers in this direction. I'm definitely going to advance as hard as I can. Yeah. Let's see what we can do here. So 2-1. Okay, so that'll leave him right there. I don't think any Genestealers are going to be able to get to him within one turn to make this backfire on me. Oh, I thought he got hit, but he stepped on a Genestealer and it splatted. Lovely. We're going to put the flamethrower unit right here, and the reason in so doing is because he can actually flame out this entire hallway if he needs to. And now, it's time for us to get the hell out of this hallway and get ourselves to safety. Let's get our sergeant... I don't know what he just said, but we're going to get our... I love Space Marines. They have the best quotes ever. Although, in the Warhammer 40k universe, I'm very much an orc man. If it comes down to it, I play orcs. Just, if I have a choice, I like orcs very much. I find them to be hilarious, and I love that everything about the orcs is just randomization. Like, you can never guarantee that anything is going to work out as an orc. Ooh, how come... Let's see here. That's going to be 3. Alright, so this guy in the back may be expendable. We may leave him slightly detached from the overall regiment.
They will fall.
I mean, that's what Space Marines are supposed to do. They're supposed to die, right? That's like their job. That's like their MO. So I'm going to get the sergeant caught up. We're just going to leave him to hold this back line. Yeah, and we've got a flame launch control room. I don't really know if this is like a suicide... Oh, it is a suicide mission. The mission was called Suicide Mission. I remember now. Let's end the turn, and I think we'll be okay. It's gonna take them a little bit of work to get past him. He gets a couple shots every time they advance, so as long as his weapon doesn't jam early on, I think we should be okay. I don't remember what causes a weapon jam. It's like rolling double ones or something like that. Oh, never mind. Maybe it's just... Maybe is it rolling double sixes? Because he had an AP left, you saw right there, he unjammed his own weapon. That's why you always want to leave your Overwatch guys with an extra AP. Just a little bit of in-game advice right there. If you weren't privy to the overall universe... Now, is that door broken or is that door good to go? I don't like that. Let's... We got 4 CP that turn, so we do have something to play around with. Let's go ahead and put him right there, and I'm going to use CP to block off this corridor. I'm going to have the flamethrower guy follow him. I'm going to have my flamer troop go. And what I'm going to do is actually have the sergeant block off this corridor just in case while we get everything situated. First and foremost, I want the flamer just to get to this room. Like, more than anything, if we can accomplish the mission, I'll be happy. I don't remember what types of Genestealers there are, so if I tend to fumble in the future as we talk about the new types of Genestealers, then... That's why I'm not a big Genestealer guy. I've never really looked into Genestealers. I don't own any of the rulebooks or anything like that. I have all of the Space Marine rulebooks. I have all of the Orc rulebooks. I think I have like an old Eldar rulebook around somewhere. Okay, so he's got a little bit of room now to detach from this combat. That's going to cost him 7, but he has 8 altogether. So let's go right there. And that's going to allow him to overwatch our rear. Giggity. Anyways... That's why they're always leaving Brother Noctis in the back. He loves Overwatch in the rears. Alright, so he's there. We're going to leave him. And I believe this is starting to get the familiar stink of a winning mission. That's another thing that sometimes with Space Hulk, I feel like the Game Master gives up like halfway through. Or the player gives up once it becomes apparent that everything is lost and there's just no way you're going to make it out of this. But I think that's part of the fun of Space Hulk, is that Space Marines don't care if they don't make it out of this. They just get themselves recloned anyways. I mean, technically it's not still them, but at the same time it sort of is. I don't know what there's no breach points right here, right? So that's going to be... This is going to be a tough call. What I'd prefer to do is have him get out of the way so that the flamer guy can make a run for that door. But since I'm a little worried about this position makes... Oh, never mind. We've got Sergeant there. Okay, let's move him up to here, and I'm actually going to have him overwatch this spawn since the Sergeant already has this spawn taken care of. I think he'll fire it. I don't think there's any type of limited range. It's just as long as you have line of sight. Don't quote me on it, though, so if you end up getting gibbed in an unfortunate circumstance, it's not my fault. I tried my best. I did my best to let you know how things work. I'm just not the most filled in a lot of the time. Now, he can step backwards, but you want to be careful when controlling in-game. You can only step backwards 1 square at a time. So, for example, if I had clicked right there, he would turn around and then walk 2 steps because it's the most efficient way to get there. I'd like to take a look at... Okay, so I got to make sure that I have enough CP left over. We got 5, so we'll probably be okay. And that'll leave an extra CP for weapon jams or anything like that, too. I do feel as though we're probably going to get run at this right here. This is feeling a little bit precarious. We're going to get run on from some direction. I just don't know which one yet. Alright, so there's another Genestealer down. I wish the animations were a little bit quicker, but they're not quite as slow as, say, like Eodor, for example, where the turns are very, very slow, and you sometimes end up just sitting there, like, tapping your toe, being like, oh, why is this taking so long? Oh, bolted. No. Okay, that Genestealer's actually not able to attack him. That's very, very good. What I may be able to do, it is a suicide mission, but I'm just one of those players that doesn't like sacrificing anybody. I like to get as many people out alive as possible. Well, we're going to step him forward 1. We got 3 CP that turn, and that leaves us at the unfortunate disadvantage of just being right in the middle, where it's kind of a 50-50 shot whether we're going to get more CP or not. We've got all of our firing lines covered, so I think he should be alright, barring any ridiculous problems with this door. Everything should be okay. Now, what I would prefer to do... There's nobody coming from this direction, and there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yeah, what I'm going to have to do on this one is actually have him overwatch down this way, because there's no way for him to watch both this and this. At the bare minimum... Oh, he managed to shoot that guy.
None shall survive.
God, none shall survive. I love that. Space Marines are just... There's a reason why Space Marines are like the poster boys for the entire Games Workshop catalog.
Obstruction removed.
Alright, let's see... God, let's see what kind of luck we can wrangle with this situation. Things are not looking good, though. I avoid melee, because melee tends to get you killed. You do get 3 attack rolls, but so does the enemy, and whoever gets the most 6s wins. Which leaves you in just the... It's awful. It's not pleasurable at all. I'm going to use as much AP with him to wipe them out. There is a lot of slowdown in this game, I've noticed, which is a little weird. I may fiddle with the graphics in the future. I think things might be a little too detailed right now. There might be too many Genestealers on screen. And I believe that pretty much... We're going to leave him on Overwatch. The game does sort of start to drag. That's part of the little review thing that I like to do of the games as I go through. Now, it may be due to the fact that I just cranked up the anti-aliasing before I started this preview without knowing, because I had never seen that there was any slowdown before. I think he'll be alright. 1, 2, 3, 4. We might lose him. We might lose him in this, which makes me wonder if maybe I should have the Sergeant kind of fall back and just abandon this corridor. Then again, we do have a lot of our firing lines covered. Oh well, we're gonna just wait and see what happens here. I would almost guarantee this guy's toast. Clearing out that hallway, he just didn't have the AP for it. Yeah, he's down. So there's another... We lost another Space Marine, unfortunately. We're probably about to lose our Sergeant, too. I don't really know. And I picked the wrong direction to look at, unfortunately. We got 6 CP that turn, though, which is very, very good. This should allow me to actually finish the mission, I believe. As long as somebody wins, we're okay. So the door is open. And we have to flamethrower this room. I don't really know. Do we have to flamethrower everything or just like the center? Let's find out. So flamethrowers away. Alright, and so we succeeded. So we have 3 of 5 survive, kind of. I don't think they're walking out of this one. But that's the end of the first mission.
For the enemy. Death is all that awaits them.
I realized he was doing like a little voiceover. I'll fix that in future episodes, but that's the end of our first episode here. Mission number 1, Suicide Mission here at the Nerd Castle. My name is Splattercat, and if this is the first time you're taking a look at my content, I just want to thank you for stopping by. For all of my older subscriptions and all of my other viewers, thank you for checking this video out. This is a game that I'm very much looking forward to, and I think we're going to have a blast playing through all the missions. I'll see you guys later, and take care out there, everybody.